Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk. And we welcome you on a Saturday morning from a picturesque San Diego. And from the confines of WS Radio Network on this, the 10th day of August, 2019, live from the WS Network here in San Diego, California, America's finest city, living up to a Chamber of Commerce day. The weather has been great. The racing action at Del Mar has been tremendous, and we're going to cover a lot of ground this morning. So sit back, get comfortable, put the do not disturb signs up because we have a lot of information to share with you. Got some great news coming out of Del Mar. We'll talk a little bit about Saratoga, the 4-star Dave. That's the major stake race back there. But the highlight is where it all started, the granddaddy of them all. That was the Arlington Million. We'll go back to Arlington Park. We'll talk about the Beverly D. We'll talk about the Secretariat. We'll talk about the Arlington Million and then Pucker Up. I think that's an all-stakes turf pick 4 there at Arlington. That's race 9 through 12. Then we'll go to Del Mar. Del Mar with a 9-race card. I mean, it's pretty hard to expect anything more than what we can give you on this Saturday morning because I know alongside Tommy D is ready to go. He's excited. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome to Track Talk.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this beautiful Saturday, wherever you may be. Excellent racing across the country, Felix. It looks like a great card. Saratoga, Del Mar, Arlington, like you said, big racing and excited, and it's summertime. So you got great racing, summertime racing across the country. And we're coming up on the Breeders' Cup, too, going to be here in Southern California, not too far away. But, hey, let's still stay on focus. Del Mar is still here, Saratoga, and the big one, Arlington Million today.
All right, we reached the halfway point to the 36-day race meet at Del Mar yesterday. So half of the meet is gone, but half of it still remains. And a big portion today, we'll take a look at those 9 races and talk about that. But in general, racing in Del Mar has been really solid, Tommy, from July 17th to the present. The stewards are getting more involved, made a couple more decisions this week. The only ticket that was moved up for the whole entire jackpot at Del Mar in that pick 6 was hit. $373,000. An objection led to $373,000 because Martin Pedrosa won the race. There was an objection. They moved up Edwin Maldonado, and guess what? The name of the horse was Asaro. So to our friend Andy Asaro and Karen Headley, I don't know if Sorrow and Headley got anything going on because they've been really sweet with one another. Andy Asaro, if you're listening to the radio program, you got the hots for Karen Headley, but the horse named Asaro, so she trains. There might be something there. But the disqualification, could you imagine, Tommy D, having the only ticket with your horse running second? And then you go, oh, wow, how close could I come in? And then all of a sudden, an objection. And then after a couple minutes of looking at the race itself, they take the winner down and they put your horse up. He gets the jackpot of $373,000. His ticket was $920, Tommy D. It was purchased Lake Elsinore. So whoever hit that ticket, I think they're listening to this radio program this morning.
Yeah, hey, congratulations if you are. Hey, we're all hoping to get to that big shot, so you thought you were down, and that's the thing about this game, and there's always some surprises that will knock you down and pick you back up. So yesterday, the other day, congratulations. Like you said, stewards in the mix, sometimes going the right way, going your way, sometimes not going your way. You just got to stay positive and keep moving forward.
And while we're up there talking about Lake Elsinore, I want to tell you, I met a gentleman who helped me out quite a bit. You know, do you understand the drill, Tommy G? Because I shared it with you. I had an extensive vinyl collection going back to my DJ days. And I met this gentleman outside the Belly Up at a fundraiser. And he is John Ruff. Ruff and Ready Packaging, Storage, Commercial, Corporate Relocation. Moving and storage up there, and I want to shout out to him because I know he's listening to the show. And in that valley up there, you know, they have that derby room up at Norco. There's a lot of horse players up that corridor. Lake Elsinore, Pachanga, Pala is nearby, the Indian reservations. But from down the street to across the country, if you move, it's too tough, you call Ruff. That's my friend John Ruff. Ruff and Ready Moving and Storage, located in the heart of Temecula, local or cross country, roughandreadymoving.com. I want to thank him very much. I really do. It took a lot of pressure knowing my record collection was secure and safe, and I would recommend him to anybody. So if you're listening, John, out there with your lovely lady, Kaylee, I believe her name is, thanks for being a great friend, and we'll be true to you as well. So, Tommy D, Saratoga is where we're going to go. What do you make of the Saratoga meeting, Tommy? I know you're putting a lot of effort into it. A very tough meeting, Tommy D, as we have come to know. But I think this Saratoga meeting has been a lot tougher than recent years. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's been not too bad. Last year we had a lot more rain. I know there's rain there, but this year we've actually, I think, kept most of the races true. But unfortunately, with having races up in upstate New York, the weather is a big factor. You have the humidity, and then you have the rain that comes through quite often. But I think that this year it's playing pretty nice. I'd be happy to be at Saratoga if I was there for the season. I think the trainers, the owners, and the jockeys are enjoying themselves.
I'm talking about being tough, winning races, man.
Well, hey, yeah, there's options, but you know what? Saratoga has been a little bit chalky, I feel, but you know what?
This season you think it's been chalky?
I feel like at times, but you know, Saratoga's that place where, they say favorites go to die to, but it's
the graveyard of the favorites.
Exactly. Yeah. But I also think that it's been playing to favorites, but there's value there if you could pick the right horses, and if you just key in on a couple guys, and we're going to talk about them today in the Arlington Million, and even maybe here at Saratoga a little bit, and that name is Chad Brown.
Yeah, Chad Brown is loaded. I think he has 3 in the million, doesn't he? Or I know he has at least 2 in the million, and so that's no surprise to us, and so that throws another wrench into the equation because, not only are you handicapping horses, but aren't you handicapping Chad Brown?
Well, yeah, of course. Anytime Chad Brown's in the race, you got to take a serious look at any of his horses.
Yep.
He's getting all the best horses. He's like Bob Baffert of the East Coast. I would say now he's a younger guy, but he's really came up. It used to be Todd Pletcher. Nothing against Todd Pletcher. Still a great trainer. But now Chad Brown. Anything on the turf, Chad Brown.
You know who Chad Brown worked for, don't you?
Did he work for Pletcher?
No.
Who do you work for? No.
Who do you think?
Steve Asmussen?
No. Solid
Catalano?
Solid Southern California trainer who passed away.
Mike Mitchell?
No. Bobby Frankel.
Okay.
Yeah, so he did work for Pletcher as well. And he's been very, very good. When you start rising as a trainer, and you would agree with this, when you start rising as a trainer, then more people want to bring horses to you because you're a winner, correct?
Oh, that's of course. If you're winning, people want to bring you horses. Just like we had Andrew Lerner on our radio a couple weeks ago, and he's telling us, you start grooving and start winning, people notice you, especially when you're winning at Del Mar, you're winning at Saratoga. It doesn't matter. If you're winning, people want to be hanging out with you. People will send you horses. That's just what happens.
Absolutely. The trainers at Del Mar, Doug O'Neill, still continuing to sizzle, and Phil D'Amato won a race, so congratulations. I know it was a long, dry spell for D'Amato, and it goes in streaks, especially a short meeting. A short meeting of this magnitude, you can't really get into any biases. I don't think so because of the short meeting. And, is there any biases that are presenting themselves at Del Mar? We'll talk about that in a minute or two. But let's go to Saratoga, Tommy D. And today, as I mentioned, just a smorgasbord of races from across the country. Monmouth has a great card, and Laurel does as well. Those are two circuits that I think you can find some value there. Saratoga, two big races, Tommy D, but the ninth race is the 4-star, Dave. It's the grade 1, 500,000, 3 and upward. Inner turf, they go. How far is this race, Tommy D? I didn't even write it down.
1 mile on the turf. This is race 9, the 4-star Amsterdam, as you said. I think it's a nice little field here, but, there's a couple horses. I like at a few prices here. But a couple horses you're going to have to beat. Number 3, Uni. This horse should be closing. It won 5 in a row. It won 7 out of 11 on the turf. You got Chad Brown and Rosario here, 5-2 morning line. And then you also have Raging Bull, French horse trained by Chad Brown. Ortiz is going to be up. This horse finished 3rd in the Manhattan Grade 1 last time. Those are the two horses you got to beat. Saying that, a couple horses I do like. Number 1, March to the Arch. Mark Cassie, Gaffleon decides to ride here. This horse did win the Wise Dan Grade 2, 10-1. I'm liking the price there. In number 6, Got Stormy, the other Mark Cassie horse, Santana Jr. This horse won by 4 last time at Saratoga, so on the track, 6-1 there. And maybe the 8, Hembry at 8-1. Those are the horses I like here, but we're trying to beat Chad Brown here, the 3 and the 4 here. In the 4-star Amsterdam Saratoga. But like I said, number 1, March to Arch, 10-1, like that. And number 6, Got Stormy at 6-1.
While you're doing your analysis, I'm looking in the racing form, and I see that there's race 5 at Saratoga, and then it goes right to Gulfstream Park, and it says continued on the next page. I turned about 35 pages since you were doing the analysis. I still can't find Saratoga. Is that annoying to other folks out there? I'm sure it is. I mean, you're doing digital, which we want to shout out to the racing forum. The digital platform is pretty darn good. But when you get the bricks and mortar type of racing form, can anybody tell me where race number 9 is in the racing form at Saratoga? How far do I go? I went through like 3 continents already. I went through Monmouth Park, Laurel, Arlington, cannot find Saratoga.
Somebody text this guy the page, please.
Yeah, please. All right. So let me go to Arlington Park, and let's go to Arlington Park because the Beverly D, a mile 3:16, 600,000, a grade 1. The Secretariat follows, a grade 1 3-year-old, a mile on the turf. That's a $500,000. The Arlington Million, a mile and a quarter on the turf. Tommy D. That's race number 11, and then race number 12. Pucker Up. That's what I said. I said pucker up. A mile and an 8 for 3-year-old fillies on the turf at Arlington, 9 through 12. Now, I would think that for grass lovers and people who like to bet turfers and bet horses on the turf, this would be a delight here. Let's start off with race number 9. Who do you like?
Yeah, race 9. I mean, the horse that's going to be here to beat is number 7, Sister Charlie. Chad Brown, Johnny V. This horse won 4 in a row, including the grade 1 Diana last time. Off the bench, it was the winner of the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. So this horse is the horse, 8-5. But Sister Charlie looks to be a monster here, especially after that big win off the bench. Shows me this horse is ready to fire. Maybe the only one on the outside is outside shot. I think is the inside horse, number 1, Fleeting. O'Brien's going to see Aidan O'Brien here with many horses here, and there's a jockey Ryan Moore. This horse finished 2nd in Ireland, grade 1 last time. This horse likes to compete, so I would put him in there, 5-2. But I think Sister Charlie is much the best here. 7 would be a single here for me, Beverly D, grade 1.
All right, you talked about Chad Brown. The Beverly D, it is a grade 1. These are fillies and mares, 3 and upward, going the distance of mile in 3/16. Let's shoot up to Del Mar. Let's check in with the Zapper. Zapper at 9:15 on a Saturday morning live from where the turf meets the surf. Zapper, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here, Felix. Talking to you high above the racetrack in the press box balcony, overlooking the 9 o'clock session this morning. A lot of activity at Del Mar. Big TOC meeting. It's their annual summer meeting. A lot of owners around. A lot of people talking about the DQs. Out of nowhere, it's a head-scratching thing. I think racing's really been good down here, but a lot of people just don't understand the DQs that are going on. They don't know what call they're going to make. Seems like they're very inconsistent. Seems like when the rails are out, the turf course is not wide enough, and that happened because they made it Breeders' Cup eligible a few years ago to have 14 on the turf course. And did you guys happen to touch upon that? DQs have been way more than I ever remember.
Yeah, we just we opened up the show. We talked about it, and I posed the question or the comment over to Tommy D's way. I said that that the stewards all of a sudden they found the inquiry button, and then it doesn't even take an inquiry. The objection. We were talking case in point about how their decision to disqualify Martin Pedrosa allowed Edwin Maldonado with a horse named Asaro to get the only ticket in the Pick Six jackpot. But we'll save that for a little bit later. What I want to know, Zapper, is the fact: did you obviously you had to be completely comatose not to look into Arlington today with the Beverly D, the Secretariat, the Arlington Million, and the Pucker Up. So let's go to the Beverly D. These are 3-year-old fillies. What can you share about the field in the Beverly D?
Well, I think I could share the biggest news, and that's the scratch of number 6, Magic Wand, out of the race. I guess Aidan O'Brien feels very comfortable with the rail horse Fleeting. This horse just ran second in Ireland at the Curragh last month in the Kerrygold Irish Oaks. 3-year-old taking on older, so he's telling me that he must really like his chances, and obviously my Sister Charlie is the horse to beat in that race, the 7 horse, and I can't see past those 2 horses. For a lot of people, Sister Charlie being the older 5-year-old mare, brought back by owner Peter Brandt with Chad Brown to try to maybe duplicate last year's Breeders' Cup. Could be a single, but I think Aiden's tipping his hand a little with Fleeting. So it just looks like a 2-horse race there.
All right. Let's go to the Secretariat, Tommy D. That follows along Grade 1 status as well. 1 mile on the turf. This is race number 10. Where are you leading us to, Tommy D, in the Secretariat?
Yeah, so top choice, I think I like number 8, Fairway Kitten, Mike Maker here, won 3 out of 4. Ramsey's going to be the owner here, 9-2. Number 9, Craft Daddy, just missing behind there. Cox and Giroux. Number 6, Fog of War. That's Brown's horse. You got to pay attention to here. Favorite at the post last time out. And then maybe the last zip. Michael Stidham nosed out last time in a Grade 3. I guess Aidan O'Brien. He's bringing a lot of horses, so his horse here would be the 3 here also. I don't have the name for some reason. But the
Never
3,
know more the 3?
Yeah, that's in race 10 also.
Yep.
I mean, I think this is I think out of all the races, this one is the most wide open race 10 of the 4 races. Maybe this in 12, 10 and 12 maybe.
All right, the Pucker Up, which is the final race on the card. But looking at the Secretariat Grade 1, $500,000. They're going a flat mile on the turf. You have to start looking at some connections. Michael Stidham been on our radio program. He's having a pretty good year. Remember Ian Wilkes when we had on Ian Wilkes? Chris Landeros is his son-in-law. That's his son-in-law, Chris Landeros. So that connection right there, and that's a juicy 15-1 morning line. 5 Rise the Guy. Zapper, what do you think, man? What do you think about the Secretariat? Is there any value in race number 10?
Yeah, it does look like a value race compared to the Arlington Million, where you have bricks and mortar, and obviously what we just discussed, the Beverly D. These kind of races, it's a mile and a quarter. They tend to be won or being the front runner tends to be very competitive. So isolating a front runner in this race might be the way to go. And Chad Brown has 2 horses in this race. Tommy D mentioned the 6, Fog of War. I'm going to mention the 7 horse, Ballad Point. 2 for 2. He won at Gulfstream in February, came back at Belmont in June. Really impressed with the way he lengthened his stride in his last race at Belmont. He gets to go another quarter mile. he looks like a horse that can place himself
Zapper,
anywhere.
this is a mile on the turf. The Secretariat, it's a mile. The Arlington Million's a mile and a quarter. But you're right about the 7. 2 for 2 last race.
You know what, Felix? You're right. I'm just looking at it, and it's never been a mile. They have changed it. It's always been a mile and a quarter. That's really interesting. Thanks for correcting me. But if you look back, it's always been a mile and a quarter. And I did the assumption thing, and it's interesting that they changed. You know why they probably did that? Because they were, Belmont, Saratoga has that new turf series, and they probably didn't want to get the same. It would have hurt this race. So making it a mile makes sense because then they don't get the same horses that pointed to the Saratoga Derby last week. I still like this horse. I still like the other Chad Brown horse, Valid Point. Short on experience, but definitely long on talent. He's by Scat Daddy.
Yep.
Scat Daddy seemed to do anything. I mean, he won so easy last time. It's a big step up in class, but it's a positive step up. And I'm also interested in the other Scat Daddy in the race. That's the 9-horse Crafty Daddy. This horse got beat by Faraway Kid in the American Derby, so he cuts back now to the mile. He wanted a mile back at the fairgrounds in March, and if there is some contention speed that it looks in this race, he's going to try to make the last run, and Brad Cox is gangbusters this summer. Maybe the hottest trainer in the land. He runs in the Midwest. He runs in New York. And for people who aren't familiar with Brad Cox, he's a serious player everywhere, and turf or dirt. So I'm going to use 2 Scat Daddies and play the 7 and 9 in this year's rendition of now a 1-mile race, the Secretariat Stakes at Arlington.
Tommy D, the 4, the last zip, Michael Stidham. For some reason, I keep on going back to the 4. I think there's a lot of speed in this race, the Grade 1 Secretariat. Zapper's right on cue with a Valid Point. Fog of War might be rated. That's the other Chad Brown. So the Browns are 6 and 7. But the last zip, interesting. Drayden Van Dyke rode last time in the American Derby. Arlington Park, the site right here of where this race is going to be run. Wide open affair. Hey, and before we get to the Arlington Million, we want to thank the Breeders' Cup for supporting what we do here on Track Talk WS Radio. The countdown to the Breeders' Cup is happening quick. It's going to be at Santa Anita, November 1st and 2nd. We're happy to be a part of such a great event. We had it here at Del Mar, and there was nothing like it. I go back, and I think that the lifelong memories, Tommy D, of which we had of seeing the world come to Del Mar on the grandest stage, and talking about grandest stages, Tommy D. My friends down at Donovan's, which are so good. I mean, they're really good for the community in La Jolla. Donovan's Steak and Chop House, to Don and all the guys down there. Victor, the maitre d', took care of some of my great friends down there the other night. They came back and said, boy, what a great recommendation, Felix. We had a great time down at Donovan's. But did you hear, Tommy D, about the $20 million race that they're going to unveil in February in Dubai?
I didn't hear about that, but it sounds pretty exciting to me. Anything $20 million is
$20 million.
Little ring to your ears.
And Zapper, I'm sure that you were on top of it. You probably tweeted it out. It will be the world's richest race, February 2020, with I think it's the Dubai Cup.
It's going to be a $20 million race. Obviously, it's just, I guess who could put up more money, but the Dubai World Cup, it'll be interesting if they counter. But you would expect about the same horses in that race. And they've been buying a lot of American stock, proven American stock. We sold a horse named Second Summer to some Arab connections a few years ago after he won the Californian here. He won the Dubai Mile, one of my better buys. But they've been stepping up their game, spending more money on horses, and obviously $20 million. That says all you need to say if you got a top-tier dirt horse who can go 10 furlongs, show up for $20 million.
Hey, Tommy D, Johnny Lowe was on our radio program talking about breeding over the period of the Triple Crown races. And, he put us into sight where that he shared where the sire of Maximum Security was now being betted in South Korea. And I learned, like, a sister to Maximum Security is going to be racing real soon. Or there was a story about this 2-year-old filly. I believe she was a filly. So the South Koreans are, really upping the ante in horse racing. In Zapper, about Dubai, I really don't have a lot of time to talk about, what's going on. But I think they want to become a major player in horse racing. Like you say, they're buying a lot of our horses. They really love that game. And, they have all the money with, the oils and the family money, so to speak. So, money is no object to them. And, they built that brand new racing entertainment mecca. And it's become a world-class city, and they want to become a world-class conglomerate. So you'll have the Pegasus, and then you'll have the Dubai Cup, and they spaced it right in between the three, and they're going to make it like a triple crown. And so, 12 million, 14 million, 20 million. But, anything's good, and they unveiled the whole race structure back at Saratoga yesterday. All right, so we go to the Arlington Million. Zapper, when I think about racing, Tommy D, I've been doing this for a long time as far as going down the trail. But when I think about the Arlington Million, 3 thoughts come to my mind. It was the first $1 million race. I believe it was John Henry in the Bart, and which is considered probably the greatest controversy in thoroughbred horse racing photo finishes, because it lasted as long as Maximum Securities did in the Kentucky Derby. And I think about the great Richard Duchossois, who owned Arlington Park, and how he made that a mecca back there. What's your favorite moment in the Arlington Million, Zapper?
Well, I go back to John Henry and the Bard, and they have a statue outside Arlington Park to commemorate that controversial photo. But, you mentioned Duchossois, and I'm actually good friends with an old-time trainer here, Charlie Stutz, and he trained in Chicago for a number of years, and he said if there was a classier man in horse racing, he hasn't found him yet. So, he obviously named Beverly D after his wife, Beverly, and that's why that race exists. And when he won it a few years ago, you might even say my favorite memory is having him in tears winning the Beverly D on Arlington Million Day, Mr. Duchossois, because I know that had to have meant quite a bit to him. But he has built a palace in Arlington, and, sports wagering has been approved. And they're getting very excited, Chicago racing. They're redoing Hawthorne Park as we speak. They're closing it for a 4-month period that they would normally race there. And Chicago racing is going to be really alive in the years to come. And they've definitely got the help, like New Jersey Monmouth. They're betting gangbusters there. But Beverly D winner, and I can't remember her name. I'm going to look it up before the show's over. But watching the guy who created these races win his wife's namesake race, that's probably my best memory.
All right, a lot of memories. Tommy T, you ever been to Arlington Park?
I can't say I have. I've heard many good things about the changes, though.
It is incredible. It caught fire and it burned down, and Duchossois put his money back into Arlington Park and built it up, and they had the Breeders' Cup there 2004. That was the big pick six scandal with the Temple guys or the Drexel guys. Remember when they took down in the inside job where they had the tickets of the pick six on Breeders' Cup Day 2004. I remember that day as clear. It was a beautiful day. There were so many great races. Volpone, that's the name. Volpone wins the Classic. There were 6 tickets in the pick six, and they were all fraudulent because they were altered after the third leg, and then the conspiracy. But talking about that leads me into talking about something that I really believe in. If anybody thinks that they're not betting these horses while the races are being run, well, then you might want to take a closer look. Tommy D, I was standing there. I had no action in the race. The guy next to me had the 5 horse. The gates open. He's 5-1. He battles all the way around. He wins the race. Look up, he's 2-1. Now, Tommy D, I can't buy the late money. I mean, we can email, we can text in a second, a millisecond, whatever. and they say, well, that's the late money coming in. It's happening, and I've been calling attention to it. The fluctuation of odds, especially this week. This week was a little bit more blatant than it's been, but I'm going to stay on this because I believe that you get cheated. If you bet a horse 5-1, Tommy D, and you win the race, and you bet $2, you're going to expect to get $12 back. You're not expecting to get $6 back, right?
Well, yeah, according to Lee, the odds of playing the races, yeah, that's what you would think, but it doesn't always happen that way. Like you said, not sure how it happens or what. I know late money, if people are sneaking in somehow with hackers. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's not good when you have the horse at 5-1 and you don't get the value you think you get.
Yeah, I want to shout out to my man. You know what? We got to get up there, please. Zapper, Toby, you. He asked about you guys every single time I talk with him, and that's Big John at Tip Top Meats. And he says, bring him up for breakfast or lunch. Bring him up. I want to meet him. I listen to the show, and he's been a long-time friend. Tip Top Meats, legendary in Carlsbad. You have to know. If you're listening to this radio show and you don't know about Tip Top Meats, well, now you do. Big John, Tip Top Meats, just a great guy. Has supported this radio program for such a long time, not only with food, but with his kindness and his help. He's a legend, believe me. Big John, Tip Top Meats up there in Carlsbad. Let's go to the Arlington Million. I mean, are you going to beat the Browns? I mean, you have done a lot of work, my friend Tommy D. What's your game plan? Is that how do we beat the Browns? And that's Chad Brown, not the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's Chad Brown. That is correct. And Klervich Stables, one of his main owners here. And this is bricks and mortar. This horse has done nothing wrong. And I don't see it being beat today with the field it's facing. It won 5 in a row, including the Manhattan, against a tougher field, I believe. I think Chad Brown is much the best here, especially with the announcement Zap had of number 2 Magic Wand. That was kind of the wild card for O'Brien. This horse talked about young career. Maybe on the outside, number 10, Bandua, but this horse won a grade 3. This is the only one that won a graded stakes last time out. The 7 did win an allowance over in Europe, but all these other horses did not win last time out. So I'm saying that, maybe Robert Bruce in number 10, Bandura, behind number 3, Bricks and Mortar. But I will be singling number 3, Bricks and Mortar. I think this is Chad Brown's race. Bricks and Mortar, I think, is the winner of this race.
Going for a 6 straight win.
That is correct.
All right, and tough to bet against the horse that's won 5 in a row and convincingly in Giant Causeways are very, very strong. Zapper, who wins the Arlington Million today? We want to get to Delmar, so give us a one sentence response so we can get to Delmar, my friend.
Well, I have to say 2 things. Magic Wand's probably running here. She scratched out of the Beverly D to run in this race. If you like her, use her. But Bricks and Mortars looks like a standout. But just remember, Robert Bruce won this race last year, so it does look like Chad Brown has the aces, as they say.
All right, complete the sequence, Tommy D. It could be an all pick 4 at Arlington Park. Beverly D, the Secretariat, the Arlington, the Pucker Up. Who do you like in the 12th, quickly?
Yeah, in the 12th, I fell on 4 horses here. Number 11, Cafe Americano, Brown Ortiz Jr. Number 9, Winter Sunset. I like number 4, Winigo Gin. This horse could be 4 out of 4 on the turf, just missing by a nose in one of those, 6-1. And number 10, so saying that 4, 9, 10, 11 in the last leg. My first, I would be going...
Give those again, Tommy. Numbers?
Yeah, it's 4, 10, 9, and 11. And I have a $12 pick 4. I'm going to be single number 7, Sister Charlie, race 9. In race 10, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.
Hold on. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.
8 and 9. There's 6 horses there.
And that's in the Secretariat. That's the second leg, correct?
That is correct.
All right, the Arlington Million.
Going to be single in Bricks and Mortar, the 3 horse.
Okay.
And then in the last leg, 4, 9, 10, 11.
That's a nice little ticket.
Yeah, $12. You know what? It's not going to pay huge if those 2 horses come in. But hey, if you could get 3, 4-1 on your money, we'll take it.
All right. I like your analysis of the Pucker Up. Who do you like in the Pucker Ups, Zapper?
Well, I like a horse named Princessa Carolina for Kenny McPeak. She looked like a winner in the Hot Tooth, which was the prep race, and somehow Indigo Gin came back on. I think maybe the ride was a little ill-timed. This is a nice betting race, so I'm going to give my top dog to the 8, Princessa Carolina, but there is a lot of ways you can go with a race like this. Number 10, Art of Almost, has been running against older in Canada, comes back to the 3-year-old. So I'm going to go 8-10 and try to upset the apple cart here.
All righty. Well, you know what? You guys are right there. And let's go to Del Mar. And we welcome you no matter where you are. I know there's a lot of first-time listeners. I want to shout out to Stephen and Katie and Sophia and Ryan listening up in Del Mar, California, and all the friends from the YPO from St. Louis that are tuned in. We welcome you. We are in San Diego. We're in the Western time zone, Pacific time zone, I should say, Mountain, Central, Eastern, 9 to 10 every Saturday and Sunday, Pacific Daylight Time, high noon on the East Coast, worldwide, WSRadio.com. Let us know where you are. You can email me, FelixFromDelmar@gmail.com, FelixFromDelmar@gmail.com. Let me know where you might be listening to the radio program. Hope Frank in Buffalo is listening to our radio program and all the good friends that we have accumulated, because when I think about the first portion of this year of how many great names we had come to this radio program, the great trainers, jockeys, all the participants that were a part of the Triple Crown races. But Tommy D, I don't know. I feel like you're coming up and you're seeing the ball really good. You're fresh. You're ready to go. I know you've been zeroing in on Del Mar. Drayden Van Dyke just texted me. He was going to be on the show this morning. He asked for a rain check. I guess he has to go see the stewards because, as Zapper was talking about, the lights have been flashing in Del Mar. But we have a 9-race card at Del Mar, Tommy D, and I think a pretty good one. And Zapper's right about the racing at Del Mar. It has been very, very good. You can't criticize anything about the racing at Del Mar. I mean, Tommy Robbins and David Jerkins and Dennis Moore and Leif Dickinson, which we talked to earlier in the week, where, you know, he shared off camera and off the record some of his thoughts. But I mean, that guy really impressed me. He's the turf guy, the turf foreman at Del Mar. And, you know, I always liked this guy because I think he's really made this Del Mar turf course what it is. But Tommy D, what did we play? Close to the vest, the first 5 races at Del Mar today?
Yeah, I mean, it's looks like an interesting card. I mean, we got a couple maidens here. So start the card off. It's a maiden special weight 5.5, and there's a horse a lot of people are talking about. Maybe Zappa and Toby, we could get their opinion on this. And this is number 1, Garth. Bob Baffert always has a horse people are talking about. This one has bullets on the Del Mar track. 8-5 morning line. I don't see any other horse beating this, but number 6, Convex for McCarthy for Eclipse Thoroughbreds. This horse ran a 46-2 on August 3rd, the best of 91. It does have that outside post, might be more of an advantage. Maybe the 6 here, but 1, Garth, is the horse that people are talking about. Zap, any opinion here? Race 1, do you know if anybody's what they're saying about this number 1, Garth?
Well, what I'm saying is I've been watching him all summer, as recently as coming out of the gate 2 mornings ago. He's a big, strong colt, and probably the most cleverly named horse in a long time. His mother, Bobby Frankel, trained her to a Grade 1 win in the Hollywood Starlet. Her name's Country Star. So Garth, very apropos, and he's not disappointed. He's done everything asked of him and then more. And the horse 8 Rings that just blitzed them last weekend here at odds on, probably be the favorite for the Del Mar Futurity. They worked from the gate pretty much heads up together, and that's all you need to know. Pete Erden does have a horse that's been surprising people in the mornings. The 3-horse Storm the Court. This horse is a kind of a stridey horse with speed, and that's a deadly combination. I think he's the other horse to use. Veteran, the 2-horse, has a lot of natural speed, but it's going to be very difficult for Mike Smith maybe to control him early, so I'd expect him to bust out of there. But I think Garth takes over at the quarter pole, and I think Storm the Court hopefully picks up the pieces. 1-3, cold deck exacta for me to start things off on a beautiful Saturday down here at Del Mar.
Yeah, halfway point, Zapper. Tommy D, this is day number 19, so we're going to be completing our 4th week tomorrow. One thing, if you're looking at the first race, you see Bob Baffert using Martin Garcia. Martin Garcia's new agent happens to be Tommy Knuth, so he's working really, really hard. You got to watch those moving chairs as far as agents, where they have the connections. You know, when you see Garcia and Doug O'Neill, that's Martin Garcia and Doug O'Neill. You know, Tommy Knuth and Doug O'Neill are great friends. It's about the jockey, trainer, relationship, and it really matters. A starter optional claiming race is race number 2. You have 8 going the post here. We got 2-year-old fillies, which is hard to gauge. Tommy D, what do you have in regard to the second? Let's quickly go through this one.
Yeah, so I have number 1, Miss Fraudulent on top, Peter Miller. This horse winning by 10 first time out. Ruben Fuentes stays back up. Gary Barber is the owner here, so that would be top choice. Number 4, DK's Crown, I would throw on there at 4-1. Broke its maiden by 4.5 after dropping down in class. Luis Mendez, Maldonado there. And number 3, El Tigre Terrible. This is Smiling Tiger, so we're going 5.5. The speed could be there. Another Peter Miller. 1 on the track last time out, 2-1 here. I would be using the 1-4-3 here in race 2.
All right. 1-4-3. Give the names of the horses. Miss Fraudulent, DK's Crown,
and El Tigre Terrible.
That jumped off the page. And by the way, Joe Talamo's riding lights out. Okay? Joe Talamo is riding as good as I've seen Joe Talamo ride. There's something about it. He's very, very happy. You can check it out. You could check his body language. I've studied him. I've seen him on top of a horse. Very, very happy. Zapper, who do you like in a second?
Well, I think Tommy D went over it real well. The question is, Peter Miller's got the 1 Miss Furline and the 3 El Tigre Terrible. They both have the same running styles. They both kind of on the lead. So if he runs them both, I think they're not going to hurt each other. I think they're just going to see who's better at the quarter pole, and I think they're the right 2 horses here. No order, 1 and 3, just to get through leg B or race number 2 of today's card at Del Mar.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait till Toby joins us here in race number 3. Flavian Pratt riding very well. Van Dyke is riding very well. Joe Talamo, as mentioned, Bejarano riding extremely well, and Ruben Fuentes. But with the Zapper mentions about the disqualifications, you don't know if these guys are going to get days or not, and that sort of stops their momentum because you want to be able to have a hot jockey. My friend Greg Lawler, will always bet the following day on jockeys that won the day before. He believes they win them in streaks. The 4th race, not much to offer here, beaten claiming, unless you have something, Tommy D, that you would like to talk about. Let's move on.
We talking about race 4?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think this race, I kind of like a couple horses.
Who do you
2,
like?
I like 2 Wins in Fashion. This horse second nosed out in a higher level. Chuck Treese, I think this might be his opportunity to win here at Del Mar. Doesn't win too many here, but 7-2. And then number 8, California Dreamer. Moger Bejarano, saying Bejarano's hot. This combo can win. This horse was second in its last at this level. It was 6 wide, and it was coming home. So I like the 8-2 here, and then maybe a shot with 5 Champagne Honey. But 8-2, 2 would be my top choice here.
All right, you're going to put a pick 5 in, or are you going to sort of shy away and go for the second pick 5, the late pick 5?
You might play a small one in the first, especially with a strong horse like Garth. And that's the thing is everybody's going to be on this pick 5. So if you get past with Garth, everybody else is going to be alive. So you got to find some other horses with some prices to get paid here. All
right. I want to make sure that my man John Ruff up there in Temecula hears this, because what he did and the kind of company that he has, I really want to applaud and thank him very much. From down the street to across the country, if you move is too tough, you call John Ruff, and that's Ruff and Ready, packaging, storage, commercial, corporate relocation, military moves, local or cross country, located in the heart of Temecula, California. 951-834-3539. Ruff, R-U-F-F, that's John Ruff, my man, and ReadyMoving.com. All righty, so what I want to talk about is the racing at Del Mar per Larry Zapp. Now, follow along. Give me your analysis of the main track as well as the turf course, what you've seen over this past week, Larry Zapp.
Well, I actually think the turf course has gotten too hard. The times are ridiculous, 34 and change per miles for 25 claimers. But it continues to play well. So I guess horses are just getting over it very well. I wish there was a little more width to the turf course, because as 2 days ago, Mark Glatt had a horse in the second race that came out off the rail and literally almost took down another horse. The other rider grabbed his horse, and they didn't take it down. And then last night, when the Pipey, who got taken, Pulpit Rider, was clear and came off the rail, they took her down. So I can't figure out what they're doing there.
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say the times are ridiculous? There might be somebody listening to the radio program and say, "Well, he said the times are ridiculous." What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that a proper turf course with it should be about a 136 mile, and then the really good horses can run maybe 135 and into the 134 miles.
So it's playing very fast.
It's playing very fast, Felix, and and the rails have been out, and this isn't a wide enough turf course, but they're trying to preserve the turf the whole meet. I just wish we had more turf to work with, but I love the turf racing here. It's been very good. I just don't understand some of the calls they're making. And where I started the meet saying that speed had an edge on the dirt track, I think it's a little more fair as the meet has gone on. So I think the dirt track has actually played a lot more fair than I expected it to. Speed's always dangerous. Let's be real. And these horses get tired on this deeper track in the afternoon. So sometimes it seems speed favoring because in the cheaper races, the closers don't close because they're getting tired. But I think all in all, both courses, the turf and the dirt, in very fine condition. And like I said, except for some of these calls that have been made, I think the racing's been very, very good. Better than expected 5 days a week coming out of Santa Anita, what happened there, and basically Los Alamitos. I commend the racing office. And some of the guys up north, Jonathan Wong and Andy Mathis, and a few other guys, Steve Sherman, and a few other guys really helping our field sizes coming from up north and trying to make a name for themselves in Southern California. So I commend everybody involved because it's been surprisingly better than expected for me so far, the halfway point of this Del Mar meet.
Yeah, I think you can't knock anything, and you're absolutely right about that. But, Tommy D., I know weren't up at Del Mar on Wednesday and Thursday, but or Friday, you could definitely sense you were watching it because we were texting back and forth when I was there, and you were working on closing a real estate deal. And we talked about this, Tommy D, coming up the steps this morning about you can sense it in Zapper's voice as well. If you win a race, you can't really relax until it becomes official, okay? Because you're standing there, and I have a friend who, with Martin Pedrosa winning that race, would have won $28,000 in the pick six. Tom Mansour told me he had a number of multiple exotics totaling $6 or $7 grand. And that was an objection, not an inquiry. So you can't really rest. But Zapper's right. You just don't know what to expect when the lights come on.
Yeah, you know what? And that all comes down to me and to the Kentucky Derby, maximum security.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and I think with the changing in times, politics and the way life is, people are more, vocal, and they're going to be more fine comb, going through the videos and stuff to make sure they get it right. And it is a lot of politics, Felix. But yeah, you have to hold your breath. If your horse came across, until you see that official sign, it's not official, and you don't cash. So I know that some people have been on the wrong side of it. So you just got to stay positive, and when it does go through, you just gotta think that your horse won. You got to really will it through, Felix. At times, you got to stay positive because once you go down into that negative thing, your horse is coming down.
Well, it's the most important word in the whole game is the official. When you can rest easy when that light comes on after the race, but it has been strange. I go back to those couple races when Georgie Papadramo was on. His horse was the 2, and Alonso Quinones has been brutalized. I was talking to his agent Tommy Ball, and he told me that he's really trying to overcome it. He's got days. He's got like 10 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever the case might be. So I don't really see how they took this horse down when on that particular race, the 6 and the 8 were engaged. The 6 came out, and I think they made a couple bad calls there. I'm not going to totally agree with the stewards and saying they made all the right calls. You know what? You get one man's opinion. What do you think about the best pal today?
Yeah, the best pal looks like a good one here. Got to the grade 2 going 6 furlongs and some inexperienced horses here. Number 4, Schrodinger. This is Simon Callahan. We know he produces some nice young horses. You got Pratt. Kaleem Shah is going to be the owner here. Nice local works, $550,000 purchase. Won its debut as the money favorite, so a lot of good things going in the right direction for this horse, 2-1 here. But also number 7, 4 left. Doug O'Neill, talking about him, doing really nice. This horse shipped it in from Belmont, won $150K last time after winning at Santa Anita. This is Twirling Candy, 6 furlongs. This is perfect sire for speed, so 5-2 there. Number 7, Forest Left. I like those two horses quite a bit. And then maybe at a price, the other O'Neill horse, Ragin' Whiskey. This horse was third in the Sanford Grade 3 at Saratoga last time. So competing at Saratoga, it's going to be coming back and running here. 12-1 there. Those are the horses I like. Maybe Wrecking Crew you could throw in there. But I like the 4 and the 7 would be the top 2 here. They are the 2-1, 5-2 here.
You want to drink some tequila?
Yeah, I love tequila. As long
How about
as
you,
it's
Zapper? You want to drink
nice,
some tequila?
Smooth tequila.
I like the Casamigos Reposado, please.
Nice call, nice call.
Well, we're going to go up to Casa Bandini up there in Carlsbad. So we got to make sure that we got Toby Terrell with us. We got to sort of tie him up after the workouts, Tommy D, and then we're going to put him in the closet up in the Del Mar, press box and make sure that we lock him up so that after the races are over, then we have Toby there to take him out because he's MIA.
A Toby hijack.
Yeah. Is he on the air? Is he with us? He is? Is Toby Terrell, you there?
I am here.
Wow, man. Hallelujah.
Hey.
Yes, indeedy.
How's it going?
Well, it's going well. We're just wrapping up here with another big day of workouts. A lot of Pacific Classic horses work today. And nice, healthy work tab. And hopefully a nice day of racing.
Yeah, it looks to be a good one, Toby. Tommy D here. Well, let's get right to it, buddy. First, a couple maiden special races. Race 1, we talked about number 1, Garth, being a big presence here in race 1. And then give us your thoughts on race 3. If you could talk about race 1 and race 3 real quick, your thoughts on both of those races.
Yeah, race 1, Garth, for all the people out there like I used to do, watching the breeding, see how horses get their names and seeing the cute little spins. Very cute little spin on this one. The mother of Garth is Country Star. And you get the name Garth. And on this round, they might have a star. This horse is tremendously fast. So we'll look forward to him. He's 1-5 right now on the board. And that brings us into real time to go to race number 3. And number 6, Billy Bats for Pete Miller in the Rockingham Ranch. I think has got a dream spot here to earn that 2-year-old maiden diploma. Flavian Pratt was aboard this horse for his last workout, and I think he is the horse in race number 3.
Excellent. Good call there, Toby. We didn't get to race 3, so that's Billy Bats, number 6 in race 3. Toby likes this horse, Peter Miller. And when you see Flavian Pratt aboard on the turf, that's gotta perk your eyes.
Flavian Pratt aboard anything on the turf, on water, on skis, on the golf course. He's just floating over there. Toby, how in the hell are you?
Flavian Pratt, even on the stage, singing, karaoke songs even. You can take it that far if you want.
Absolutely. You were there. I was there. It was quite a thrilling ending. It was like the Thriller in Manila, not to mention anything more. But, hey, let me ask you this, Toby. How in the heck are you doing?
I've never been better, honestly. I'm this meet is going by so fast. I can't believe it. And, of course, that's the leading indicator that you're having a good time.
Toby, have you played along with the morning line maker and horses that you've seen work and you say, hey, man, why is this horse 8-1, 10-1? And have you had any success in pointing out the horses that are are big prices that you might have used or that you were thinking about using?
I had a day yesterday where I tried to line them all up in a row and kind of did, had everything right. And I'll be darned if we don't get an inquiry out of nowhere and a disqualification for the start of the race. So I learned a long, long time ago, probably 35 years ago, you've got to turn the page, because if you don't, it's going to keep you from your next winner.
Yeah, you're right about that. We're just talking about that disqualification with the Maldonado and the Asaro horse that went up and Martin got taken down. I mean, a lot of money exchanged hands. My friend lost $28,000, but the other guy up in Lake Elsinore won $373,000 with the only ticket. So we were just talking about that. You're not safe until it's official.
One man's loss is another man's big, big gain in this case.
I want to shout out to Bob and Kathleen up there in Del Mar. They're in from Philadelphia, Los Angeles. They're always around, and they asked about you. Bob and Kathleen Verratti. Zapper stopped by. We were just sitting at Spica's earlier in the week, and Zapper was all around town with his top-rated assistant, Amanda. So they stopped by, but they asked about, hey, have you seen Toby? And I go, yeah. And they go, at night? And I go, no. And they go, in the morning? I go, yeah. I said that he's been, running on all cylinders. So we definitely need to get together here. All right, so let me ask you this. Where's your best bet today?
My best bet's going to be right where we left off. Race 3, number 6, Billy Bats.
Yes. So what did you say? I'm sorry, Toby. I'm getting text here. And
Billy Blatz, race 3, number 6.
What's the price?
It's a 2-to-1 morning line. Peter Miller, Flavian Pratt.
All right.
Finished seconds last at this level, favored at the post, so should be ready to fire here on this 1 mile.
Zapper, can you give me something better than 2-to-1?
I can, Felix, and we're going to make it simple. We're going to go to Vladimir Sarin, who's always good for a long shot down here at Del Mar, and I'm looking race number 4, the one horse, Gadot, G-A-D-O-T, however you want to say it. This horse was hard to manage in his last couple of races. I know Vladimir's going to make the necessary adjustments. 15-1 if he duplicates his maiden win a few races back. He's live today, and I'd love to get those kind of odds. So 15-1 on the one horse in race number 4, Godot for Vladimir Sarin.
And that's Farron Peterson in the boot, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
I met her. I met her just 3 or 4 days ago. She's down from Northern California. She's been riding at Golden Gate. She just became a veterinarian. She completed her degree at Cal State, wherever it was. St. Louis Obispo, I believe it was, but she's a doctor in veterinary medicine right now. She loves to ride. She has no agent. She came down here. She's in like 3 or 4 races, I think, since she's been here. I think she's in a couple races today, and she has no agent. She's just going around, just a real beautiful, a real nice young lady. And I think that, she's going to figure. She's going to win a race down here, so don't be afraid to bet on her. Where's your best bet, Tommy D?
Yeah, mine comes in race 9. I like number 9. This Flower Point 9-2. This horse closing its last at this level. Mike Smith on the last mount of the day for John Sadler. I like it. I think it comes and takes it over right at the wire. Mike Smith knows where it is, 9-2. I don't think you'll get that, but number 9, Flower Point, race 9 today.
All right, baby doll, you are the man, the Eagles with Tommy D, Toby Terrell, and Larry Zapp. You guys are frontliners and Wade Taylor. I'll be the 5th Beatle. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Track Talk. We're off to Del Mar, Arlington Million, Saratoga, a little bit of tequila, cigar, maybe a little wine bar action. Want to thank Rough and Ready Moving and Storage up there in Temecula, Donovan's Tip Top Meats. Just a lot of great people. The Breeders' Cup Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Wade Taylor, WS Radio. We'll see you tomorrow morning.